king penguins routinely fast for weeks during the brutal Antarctic winter, relying entirely on stored fat to survive temperatures that drop well below freezing. Compare that to a white-crowned sparrow, which might completely abandon its nest and territory in response to a seemingly mild spring rainstorm. In ecological literature, the term stress has become functionally obsolete. The word is too vague, conflating the external stimulus, the physiological response, and the resulting pathology into a single, unhelpful concept. Fasting through an Arctic winter or raising a demanding brood of chicks are not stressors. They are predictable, baseline energy demands baked entirely into a species' evolutionary life cycle. To understand how wild populations actually adapt to changing environments, we must evaluate their physiological resilience through the rigorous framework of allostasis. Systemic physical change is driven by unpredictable environmental perturbations. Allostasis is the active process of maintaining physiological stability through behavioral and internal change. It is the mechanism of achieving stability through change. This framework introduces an ecological accounting system. It calculates the exact energy an organism must spend to go about its daily and seasonal routines. The system breaks when unpredictable events force an organism to spend more energy than it can physically extract from its environment. To map this hidden cost, we must track how an unpredictable perturbation translates from a raw energy deficit into a measurable hormonal cascade. When an animal perceives a physical threat, a neuroendocrine pathway translates that external danger into an internal chemical signal. This diagram outlines the HPA axis, culminating in corticosterone, or CORT. The undulating wave on the left is baseline CORT, fluctuating predictably with seasons to maintain homeostasis. The sharp vertical spike is stress-induced CORT, triggered by unpredictable perturbations, like sudden severe weather. Glucocorticoids are energy managers. At low doses, they perform necessary daily housekeeping actions, like mobilizing glucose for foraging and regulating the immune system. An animal's survival relies entirely on correctly deploying the facultative, high-dose CORT spikes only when an environmental emergency demands it. The allostasis model uses energy as its universal currency to predict the exact mathematical point when an animal must abandon normal behavior. This chart plots energy. EG is available environmental energy. EE is minimum existence energy. Predictable life stages add an ideal energy requirement, EI. Unpredictable perturbations, the yellow star, force a massive energy spike, EO. The red circle marks the breaking point. Total allostatic load exceeds available energy. Biologists identify this specific point of negative energy balance as type 1 allostatic overload. Context determines the outcome. In panel B, the exact same storm occurring in summer is safely absorbed, simply because the available energy, EG, remains significantly higher than the required emergency load. Hitting type 1 overload forces a total, systemic override of normal biological functions. This diagram maps how, under normal conditions, a bird cycles through a fixed sequence of stages, moving predictably from wintering to breeding to molting. The perturbation forcefully ejects the bird from this sequence, dropping it directly into an emergency life history stage. Inside the state, the high-dose CORT spike initiates extreme physiological actions. The body accelerates gluconeogenesis, breaks down skeletal muscle protein, and mobilizes adipose lipid stores to fuel immediate survival. Behaviorally, the bird actively suppresses territoriality and reproductive duties. It adopts either a take-it strategy, like dropping into nocturnal torpor, or a leave-it strategy, initiating an eruptive migration to evade the threat entirely. The emergency life history stage is the ultimate biological trade-off. The organism sacrifices current reproductive investment, ensuring it lives to breed another day. The allostasis model provides a robust theory, but continuously measuring a wild bird's exact energy budget in the field is functionally impossible. Researchers rely on capture and release stress series protocols. By extracting blood samples at specific intervals, they measure circulating CORT levels as a proxy for allostatic load. This data constructs a reactive scope model. It defines the safe upper and lower physiological thresholds for CORT circulation, keeping the hormonal spike safely within the middle band of reactive homeostasis. A single emergency response is adaptive, but maintaining high cort levels over time is metabolically toxic. The cumulative cost of these responses is wear and tear. Facing repeated perturbations, the physiological effort permanently shrinks the animal's safe reactive scope. An animal does not succumb to pathology because the external storms get worse. It succumbs because its internal physiological ceiling collapses downward. Historical experience alters biological resilience. Here, two individuals face the exact same threat. The bird on the right, suffering from a compressed reactive scope, experiences a catastrophic overload from a CORT spike that the healthy bird absorbs easily. When CORT levels cross into homeostatic overload, the hormone meant to save the bird begins destroying it. Chronic CORT exposure forces severe pathological consequences. It suppresses the immune system, drives complete breakdown of skeletal muscle, and causes severe neuronal cell death. Modern anthropogenic threats bypass normal adaptations entirely. Prolonged human disturbance and habitat destruction act as permanent modifying factors that never allow the emergency sequence to end. This locks the population into a permanent type 2 overload. The animal remains in a state of terminal wear and tear, and pathology develops regardless of how much food is available in the environment. The true existential threat to wild avian populations is the invisible, progressive degradation of their physiological reactive scope.